fight, Khabib just showed such dominance in the ground aspect. Like, it looked like he was rolling against a beginner. Gaethje's been doing jiu-jitsu for a while, but man, it looked like he didn't have any jiu-jitsu skills. I'm sure it was because he was tired too. And I think it was a good example of, if you're tired and your opponent's not tired, even if you're good, you're not going to perform well. You're going to look like a beginner when you're tired. So keep that in mind. Khabib's jiu-jitsu, his grappling is super high level, as high level as it gets in MMA. But what he did was super basic as well. It was like really simple stuff that my beginners know. But when you do it for a long time, you get really good at it, and especially when you do it on someone that's tired, it's very effective. So we're gonna go over the transition all the way from the takedown to the guard pass and the submission. Spencer, start in a grappling stance, and we're gonna take a shot. Okay, if you haven't taken a wrestling shot before, I'm gonna give you like an easy version. If you know how to shoot, then good. I don't want to spend the whole class going over the shot structure, but I want to go over a basic entry. So this entry, all we're going to do is we're going to look to pop up our partner's wrists. Okay, call it an elbow pop or a wrist pop, where I'm going to be in my stance and I'm going to pop up either at my partner's wrists, or if their arms are a bit more stretched, I can pop up at the elbows. Either will be fine. Okay, but the whole idea is whenever we enter a takedown, we have to get around the hands. In MMA, your hands are already up tall. You could set it up with strikes to get their hands up, and then we can enter the shot. But in jiu-jitsu, naturally we're lower, and it's much more difficult to enter into a good shot. So we're going to use a basic wrist pop to get the arms out of the way. Okay. Now once we have the arms out of the way, the easy version, okay, the most simple, is I'm going to do a lunge shot. All that means is, once I have the arms up, I'm going to lower my level like a slight squat, and I'm going to take my rear leg, call this the trail leg, and I'm going to step it up across and drop to my knee. Okay, so I pop and then step forward and drop. Okay, once I get down on my knee, I'm going to enter the legs by wrapping deep around my partner's knees here. Okay, this is the first technique that we need to know. Okay, popping the wrists up, getting the arms out of the way, and getting to a lunge. Pop, lunge. Okay. When you do this lunge, make sure that you don't step and then drop your knee straight down. You want to do your best to penetrate with this lead leg. Okay, so it looks more like this. Obviously this leg goes across and forward, but as I go forward, this knee goes to the center. Okay? Now if you have taken a shot before, you can do a regular shot, which is going to be starting with a deep level change, leading with the knee, and then stepping up second. Okay, it requires a little bit more agility and a little bit more detail, but either will be fine. Okay, the whole point is to get in deep on our partner's legs. Now what we're going to do is, as soon as I enter the shot, my partner is going to do a basic sprawl. He's going to kick his legs back, and he's going to drop me down into a bad position. So it looks like this. I enter, we're here, he kicks his legs back far, and I get down here. Okay? So from this position, this is not a good spot for me. I'm broken down here, I'm very exposed. I don't have a lot of power on my partner. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, number one, see if my knee is close enough. You can stay on me. Notice my knee is really far back, like way far away. This knee. All right, at this point, I would have to slide my knee forward, and now I can get my hips in and my back straight, my head up here, and I can re-attack from this position. All I have to do is circle, circle, and now I'm on back side. Okay, enter into the back position. We're in close. Pop it up, we enter, he sprawls, cut the corner, From here, I'm gonna go straight to my leg hooks. I keep my double unders, I get on my toes, I hook my inside leg, then my other leg over the top, here. Now at this point, my partner is not gonna wanna stay here. If he stays here, I could just start working a rear naked choke, very strong finish there. So my partner's gonna cut and turn and try and save haven, where he puts his back on the mat. I'm gonna make sure I do a good job of staying in the mount. And when I do, I'm gonna work a high mount, and I'm gonna trap one of my partner's arms into my hips. So I'm just gonna zombie the arm right here to make sure it's stuck in my hip. Now once I have this arm, I'm gonna scoop the head, and then I'm gonna work on leaning so I can grab my partner's wrist. I'm gonna start by pinning it down to the mat, okay? Just like this. Now, I'm sure the biggest mistake I'll see is not high enough. When you guys enter this high mount, I want your knees underneath the armpits. Then you go under one of our partner's arms and wave it around so it's trapped in the hip. Then we go under the head, and now here's where I want an adjustment. Because right now my hips are very square. My spine is aligned with his and very parallel. So once we get under the head, we can keep our forearm on the mat, and I want us to cut a strong angle. So this, if I put my left arm under the head, that means my left knee is gonna change and slide under the shoulder as much as I can, here. Okay, now I can really sag on his arm. My knee is above my elbow, and I have a very strong angle, okay? We're gonna finish with this wrist pin here. All right, so we're in the gangster lean position. Now from here, we want to pin this wrist down. This is a really great spot. If I can keep this wrist down, now I can posture up, throw my leg over his arm, and hook over the neck. This is ideal. This is the best case scenario. However, in the fight, Gaethje was really strong, and he fought back here with this arm. And if we don't respond, eventually he'll get his arm back, and we'll lose it. Okay, so from here, my partner is gonna fight their arm back in. As they fight it back in, I'm gonna redirect that pressure and pin it down to the chest. Now it's low instead of high. I can still trap. So I'm gonna posture, pull the head up towards you, and then I'm gonna kick my leg over the top, here, bringing my heel down to the mat. Some people will throw deep and enter like this, but that's not how we're gonna do it today. Today we're gonna go shallow. It keeps our options a little bit more open for the arm bar. So I'm gonna throw this leg over and simply put my foot down under his head. I wanna keep this hand under the head. Now we're gonna focus on the triangle right now. So that's why I wanna stay under the head with this hand. However, in the fight, what happened was he pushed his hand down, but Gaethje was smart, and as I kicked this leg over, he kept his hand here to block. Okay, and that was smart initially. Khabib still went for it. So from here he sat back, or actually Khabib leaned on the chest, brought his leg over the top, because he was still thinking about armbar. He was thinking about stepping over here for this armbar. But he ended up pulling guard instead. And as he pulled guard, Gaethje made a big mistake here and let this hand go. And that was like really the ultimate mistake. That really solidified this triangle here. It was very easy for Khabib to lock this triangle in. Gaethje started to come up. Khabib hooks the leg to prevent the slam, and he grabs his own foot right here to solidify his lock. And then it was just a squeeze. Not a super complicated technique. It's pretty simple. It's something that most jiu-jitsu people know pretty well. So it comes down to just practicing it in your live drills, in your rolling, just going for this. And the little decision making, because there was so many other opportunities. You know, Khabib could have tried to stay on the back, he could have tried ground and pound him out, he could have gone to the arm bar. There were so many little things that happened, so many small decisions that are made in split seconds that you're only going to know what decision's the right one in the moment, and you're going to develop that instinct in practice in live rolling. Okay? So what I want to cover now is what I think Gaethje should have done to try and salvage the position, to try and escape. Okay? So at this point, Khabib threw the leg over, and Gaethje's hand was still in. Okay, at this point, he's still good. It's very hard to get triangled when the hand is still in, even if it's tight. He did have his arm in a bad spot where the lat arm bar was available, but Khabib was committing to the triangle. So what he was gonna do, what he did wrong was, as Khabib sat, Justin tried to do a hard stack by letting his hand go. And I'm not sure what he was thinking at that time, you know, heat of the moment, or maybe he had some strategy I'm not thinking about, but this was his one lifeline right here, and he let it go to get on top, which just made it super easy for Khabib to finish. He was better off staying on the bottom and not getting on top and getting his hand free, okay? But as Khabib sat, Justin had an opportunity to get on top and keep his hand in, okay? Whether you have this hand in or not, you can still get on top. He's letting you get on top. Keep it tighter. Okay, so at this point, if Khabib could have gotten to the, Gaethje could have gotten to this position, he has his hand locked. Actually, tighten this up. He has his hand in here. It's going to be hard to do much of any traditional escape techniques with your hand stuck in here. And another aspect of this position is his arm was in this position up here, which serves for him as a lat arm bar if he chooses to go to it. He could tap me out right there. But if you can pop this triangle off, because your hand is in here, if you could just keep this in here, eventually we could fight our head through, opening, and then now we can start to stand. Now once we stand, we're still in danger right here of this lat arm bar. He can still tap me out, or if it's on this side, he can still get me like this. So that's the double trouble you're in right here. You're worried about this triangle, but you're also worried about this lat arm bar, okay? However, because the lat arm bar is on the top lat, it's very easy for me to, once I pop this out, I can turn the angle and I can start to give him omoplata. I can give him the omoplata position. But if I'm quick about it, I can use this omoplata position to my advantage. So as I pop my head free, I'm gonna give him the omoplata, but as I do, I'm gonna step over onto my knees, and now I'm on top of the side control. I get my arm free, and now I'm on top, okay? So I think that was one really great technique that Gaethje could have done, but you know, for some reason that arm came out. And if you have that hand in, don't let it free. You wanna stay strong with that.